Do you identify as a workaholic at all?
I think I identify as a recovering workaholic. Like, I am self-aware to know that I was using work as a coping mechanism.
Okay, gotcha.
And also, I mean, I think I also like doing stuff. Like, genuinely, I enjoy doing stuff. But it got to the point where the stuff was doing me. Okay? I was exhausted.
Yeah.
Completely exhausted.
Yes.
I had nothing left for, like, myself. And by the grace of God, I mean, I just kept pushing on, kept striving on by the grace of God. But it was like, okay,
what do we need?
There's an issue here.
Right.
You're sick every day.
Yes.
There's an issue. So yeah, I'm a recovering workaholic.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Check-In Podcast. As you guys already know, should know by now, my name is Camryn Joi, and I am the host of the Check-In Podcast. Now, you've been here with me since 2020. I need to send you something. I need to. I won't, but I need to send you something. But if you haven't been here since 2020 and you're just checking into the Check-In Podcast, we are a podcast geared towards young adults and teens, where we talk about the everyday challenges, triumphs, and everything in between of life. So this season, as I told you guys before, I'm doing something a little bit different. I am doing themes this season, and the theme this season is actually self-care. And with self-care, I don't want to talk about, just the superficial aspects of self-care, the self-indulgence aspects of self-care, but I want to talk about really, really, really the habits and the practices that help us be our better selves. So for today's episode, we will be talking about rest and relaxation in this day and age. And I felt like no better person to talk about this than Miss Alexis Booker.
Hello.
Alexis, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yes, I'm excited to have you too. And I knew this was the perfect person when I reached out to her to be on the podcast, right? And she told me she's actually going through a season of burnout, and that instead of recording, last year at the end of 2024, it would have to be pushed to spring 2025. And I said, that response alone lets me know that she is the perfect person to talk about rest and relaxation in this day and age. So, Alexis, I don't know if you've seen the podcast before, but it's okay if you haven't. The first thing that I do on this podcast to open it up is I always ask my guests, and we're recording on a Sunday, guys, so she might not have a word.
Okay.
But if you could use one word to describe your past week.
My past week? Okay.
So far, what would that word be? Or if you don't want to talk about the past week, what is one word that you are looking to encompass this week? It could be either or.
Okay. I would say my past week, the word I would use... Okay. So this past week is a little bit of an exception because I have a deadline at work.
Okay, gotcha.
So I was a little crazy this past week.
Yeah.
It wasn't ideal, like how I would like to spend my weeks. But I would probably use the word striving.
Okay.
All week I was striving for something. All week. And I was striving to meet my deadline for sure, but also striving to keep my sanity.
Yeah.
Like in the midst of trying to meet that deadline.
Yes.
While also taking care of my dog, taking care of my home. Seeing my family, being with my boyfriend, like there's a lot of different things. It's making time for God. There's a lot of different things.
Yes.
And it can get very overwhelming.
Yeah.
So I would say I was just striving the whole week. Like,
striving. I feel you.
Do your best.
What do you do for work, if you don't mind?
I'm a software engineer.
Oh, really? What you study?
No, I studied communications. And then I learned to code during the pandemic and became a software engineer. So I guess I'm a software engineer by trade, but I didn't go to school for it.
That is interesting. I got my degree in communications, but my minor was computer science.
Oh, okay.
So I've actually been not teasing, flirting with the idea of getting into cybersecurity.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just for more job stability.
For sure.
My whole thing with not wanting to pursue that as a career in school is just how stressed I was.
During the classes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that about CS school, that it is very challenging.
Yeah.
I mean, so I did an apprenticeship program, actually, when I got out of school.
Oh.
And it was very challenging. And I thought to myself, wow, to have done 4 years of this in school would have been a lot. So I'm very glad at the route that I took.
Right.
And I'm very happy with my decision. Because, there is a lot of job stability. It's also challenging, keeps me engaged.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Which is a blessing.
Oh, we should talk about this.
We should. Yeah.
I did not even know that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Your word was striving. I'm trying to think of my word for last week. I always ask my guests these questions, and then I never knowing I'm going to ask my guests these questions, I never
Don't think about it for yourself.
No.
Yeah.
One word to describe my past week. I would say acclimating. I went on vacation at the beginning of the month, and I immediately jumped back into work because it's just what you have to do in this day and age.
Yeah.
And I my first week back, I was just suitcase not unpacked. I'm living out the suitcase, just going to work. And so this week, I'm been reacclimated. I've been back at all 3 of my jobs. I've,
a lot of jobs.
Yeah, do pain in it. And yeah, just getting back into the groove of things. But I am glad because I feel like the weather helped with that.
Oh yes.
I didn't come back. I went to vacation to a really sunny place, and then I came back, and it was obviously colder than Jamaica, but it wasn't. It felt like
it wasn't winter. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Oh yes, yes.
Winter,
100%.
Oh,
winter was really was tough.
Yeah.
More tough, I think, than the last couple of years. The on and off snow. I got a dog this winter. Which, if you're gonna get a dog, don't get a dog in the fall because you have to go through winter right after you get them.
Yeah,
and you have to walk them in the snow.
Yeah,
and in the cold, and that was really tough.
Yeah. I feel like having a pet creates a certain level of discipline. No,
I got the pet for that reason.
Oh, okay.
Partially for that reason. I guess it will create discipline. Right now, it's created the stress of having to grow, which is really uncomfortable. But it's only been a few months, so it's coming along. I have hope that it will come along. So
with okay, so your hope is discipline, but I want to ask you before we even get into that is do you identify as a workaholic at all?
I think I identify as a recovering workaholic. I am self-aware to know that I was using work as a coping mechanism.
Okay, got you.
And also, I think I also like doing stuff. Genuinely, I enjoy doing stuff. But it got to the point where the stuff was doing me. Okay. I was exhausted.
Yeah.
Completely exhausted.
Yeah.
I had nothing left for myself. And by the grace of God, I just kept pushing on, kept striving on by the grace of God. But it was okay.
What do we?
There's an issue here.
Right.
You're sick every day.
Yes.
There's an issue. So yeah, I'm a recovering workaholic.
Okay, so when you were a workaholic, what was something that was driving you to keep going even when you knew you needed rest?
I think that I have never known how to rest actually. So the idea of oh, you need to rest wasn't even really something that was coming to mind. Even though I've always kept the Sabbath, Sabbath has and Sabbath is
I'm so
a practice of rest. Yeah, it's the practice of rest. Relying on the Lord that He will take care of everything. Even though I have grown up practicing the Sabbath, keeping the Sabbath, as one would say. Yeah, they were always busy. I never relaxed at
the Sabbath. Thank you.
They were always busy and they were meaningful. They were very meaningful. I love my community. I honestly wouldn't even. I'm not even saying I would go back and change or have any issues about that. But as an adult, it's okay, I was not resting. And I actually don't know. I really don't know how to rest.
Yes.
So it's not something that comes to mind. You're working too hard, you need to rest. I didn't know what that looked like. Yeah. At all.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up that because I used to try to explain when I got to college. Well, first of all, I didn't know how to rest in college either. I remember I was taking this one math class and it was this platform called Alex. And so we would get math homework, but we would have to complete everything. And it was just way too much work to do. It was an insane amount of work to do. And then it was one of those things where okay, you could get 2 questions right and move on to the next portion, or if you get one of those questions wrong, they're gonna like start you. It was too much. And I was just trying to knock it out. I was working on Friday night, I was working on Sabbath, I was doing all that stuff. Then when I got out of college, like I did start going to church less. And it didn't really have anything to do with me not wanting to be close to God, but it was just like, I go to church. First of all, I got to drive my family. When I started driving to church by myself, that was a little bit different. But like you go with your family, and then my dad's an elder. So it's like randomly, oh, now you have an elders meeting after church. So now I have to stay after church. And then if I take my cousin, oh, now he has a Pathfinders meeting. And then he has church league basketball. And then, and it's like,
it's all the things.
Every day. And I don't think you say you don't know how to rest. I don't think I knew how to rest either.
Yeah.
I know how to sleep.
I barely sleep. I mean, like I do sleep, but I don't sleep well.
I don't sleep well either.
So it's just like there was nothing.
Yeah.
Besides probably just the Holy Spirit, there was really nothing keeping me restored to keep going. So I totally understand.
So I'm sorry if I asked this question, Ray, but what is it that like
what that was pushing
you,
like
even when you knew you needed rest?
Oh, okay, right. So what was it that was pushing me? I mean, I think it's a few things. I don't think it was just one particular thing. And it's something that I'm still trying to explore more, because I still will get into the habit of I needed to get this done. I need to get this done. I need to get this done. Like, those are the thoughts I'm having in my mind. Like, you need to finish this. You need to finish this. I think, too, so I have ADHD.
Oh, okay.
And one of the ways that manifests is, like, it's very hard for me to say, like, this is a priority, this is not. Everything just feels like you need to do this right now. Like, just everything.
Okay.
So I have my list, and even if some things aren't that crucial, everything's like, you need to do it right now. So I think there was some fear and anxiety that was constantly pushing me to keep doing things.
Got you.
Because if I had work to do, it's like, you need to finish this work right now, or something really bad is going to happen. Or if it's like, maybe it's church stuff I'm working on, like, you need to like stay up late, finish this volunteer work because people are counting on you. You don't want to disappoint people. So I think there was definitely some fear and anxiety that was like behind me, like pushing me, like, keep working. And then also learn behavior. I grew up busy. Like, I've been busy since my mom was pregnant with me when she took the bar. So even in gestation, like, I've just been busy since before my time. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So it was like, that's also where I was comfortable too. Even though I was working hard and I was feeling stressed, that's like where I'm comfortable. So I can manage it. I can get through it. And so it wasn't like, okay, you need a rest. It was like, okay, you don't feel well, but you know what you need to do to still push on and work. So it's fine.
Yeah. I think comfort in comfort in the chaos and like unlearning that is something that I think our generation is working on, not just in terms of like being a workaholic and resting and stuff like that, but also in terms of just like the types of relationships that they build and they gravitate towards. Like, you know, if they grew up in a chaotic home, as much as they know they don't need a chaotic partner or chaotic friendships, that's kind of like where they gravitate towards because that's where they feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So I definitely like understand you, you know, when you say that you're comfortable in chaos. And for me, I had parents who just worked and who were very active, like not only in work life, but at church and just like in their families too, like being like number one people that people like depend on or call and stuff like that. And seeing them stretch themselves thin kind of didn't teach me how not to do that.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, they do it. Like,
yeah, I should be able to do it too.
Like, what's up with that? So
yeah,
I feel that. You mentioned earlier though that you felt like working was like a coping mechanism in terms of like what? Like,
yeah, like what was I coping with? I think it's a few things. One is just, okay, it's a few things. I think maybe the biggest things, because like this conversation for me is like kind of like my life the last 2 years. So I'm trying to like pick out maybe the most important things to say. Partially, can you ask the question again? I just want to make sure I answer it.
My question was, hold on, what was my question? Oh, you were saying using work as a coping mechanism. So what exactly do you feel like, because I feel like I'm the same way. So what exactly did you feel like you were like coping with or coping from?
Yeah, so I think one of the things I was trying to cope with was being uncomfortable.
Okay.
Because when I would try to relax, I would get really uncomfortable. So I would work instead.
Right.
And work and trying to cope with my anxiety. Because I do have anxiety that I work through. And having the anxiety, the fear, and the worry, working seemed to be, or I guess has been one of those ways where it's like, okay, I can make myself feel better from the fear and anxiety of the future if I work. Like as if I'm doing something, you know? Like if I'm doing something, it won't be so bad in the future.
Yeah.
I mean, and like there's balance to it, right? Because you have to work, you have to hold down a job or something, right? So anxiety, the discomfort I have with rest, and then I think loneliness too. I definitely was going through a season of loneliness and have gone through seasons of loneliness on and off. And I think the feeling of like, if I'm not working, then what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, if I'm not working, then I'm just doing nothing. Like, I'm just by myself doing nothing. Like, it's scary. I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to work instead and feel comforted being with my work.
Yeah.
Feeling some kind of fulfillment from doing that.
I'm glad you brought up loneliness because I feel like loneliness was definitely something I struggled with in college. Like, I think the pandemic, so first of all, I really did not like college at all. Like,
me either.
And, and I feel bad saying that because I went to Howard. Everybody's like, oh, you didn't like Howard? And I'm just like, I didn't like college at all. Like, I was so, like, going from TA to, like, a big university is, like, so different.
Yeah.
Because it's like, everybody has friendships to pull from that are not necessarily like, you don't see them in the same classes every single day. You see them in some classes, and then the next semester you might not see them ever again. And then I also went to school during the pandemic. So like just as soon as I started getting comfortable and trying to like work through some of that and get out my comfort zone, then I'm literally thrust back into isolation. So then I never really like, I made friends in college, but I never really feel like I had that like fulfilling like college experience.
Yeah.
And in college, I was like always working. So I had school, and then I maybe had like 1 or 2 jobs on top of school. And I also had a boyfriend. And my boyfriend, he had to talk to me one day. He was like, so like in the future, like, do you ever think you're gonna not be working? And I'm just like, I was like, no. He was like, okay, so it's better now to try and figure out some type of balance because you're always gonna be working. So just, he was just trying to help me, like, just let it go. Like, just, you don't have to work yourself to the bone all the time. And at this point, like, he didn't really have a job. So, like, I'm saying, he's like, you don't know what you're talking about. Just shut up. Like, I don't even want to hear it. Like, he had money, but it was just like, he just wasn't working at that time. And I was like, you have all the time in the world. Like, you think you could dump like, this, that, third, and I'm bouncing this, and you, but like, I do think that like I had to see working as a coping mechanism. And now, like, I will say, I think I'm in a season of my life where like, I know when I need my breaks and I take my breaks and I take them by myself. My parents hate this, but I will go on a solo trip. So
yes. I love a solo trip.
Leave me alone. I don't need, you need somebody to go with you. I'm like, I will pay for the extra for safety.
Yes.
I will pay my
stay
cost.
In a safe place.
Stay in a safe place, have maybe like one person that commutes me everywhere. Like, I will pay for that. But like, when you need your space, you don't always need somebody up in the space with you.
No. Right. And absolutely. And you have to know how you get refreshed. And I'm the same way. I actually can't refresh with other people. I would really love to be able to do that, but I cannot. Like, I just physically cannot. I have to be completely alone.
Exactly. It's like, I can't tell you people's like, I just can't take another voice in the room sometimes. Like sometimes I just want to sit back and hear nothing.
Absolutely. In the like on trips, I can't like I love traveling with people, but when you're alone, it's like you don't have no one. It's not like, hey, what do you want to do today? You know, there's no like discussion. There's no like, I want to eat this. No, I want to eat this. Like none of that. It's just you do what you want to do. You spend time with yourself like a friend, and it feels good.
Yeah, it does. You said that your mom like was pregnant with you when she was taking the bar, so like you feel like gestationally at least like
like
you know like work has been tied to you. Do you feel like your self-worth is tied to working to an extent, like based on how much you accomplish, how much you don't accomplish? I know you have the ADHD aspect, but in terms of just like, you know, like your value, like do you feel like it's tied to your work to an extent?
Like to an extent, a little bit. I think that is more capitalism than anything else. And once I kind of realized that, I was able to detach from that way of thinking a bit more. I think we do live in a society where what you do determines your value and how much money you have determines your value. So I think there definitely was some of that thinking just from growing up in the culture that we've grown up in. And I think just once I realized that, though, I started to detach from that thinking, and just started using more self-talk, like, this isn't who you are, and this isn't going to make you important or not important. Like, you are important no matter what you do. And also just I think it also gave me some humility too, because when you start to think of yourself, like your own value coming from your work and your money, you start to look at people who don't work and don't have money as being less than. Which is a very capitalist mindset and is very wrong. Yeah, it's very wrong. It's very evil. So I was like, no, I'm not going to think like that.
Yeah. I respect that. Do you feel like, I know you said like your ADHD makes you feel like I got to get the count.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you see rest as a luxury and something that you can't afford at the moment, or do you see it like more as a necessity that's just like overlooked?
I definitely in the past saw it as a luxury that I could pass up. Like, okay, maybe I need some rest, but I'll be fine if I go another week without it. And now I see it as a necessity. I see it as a necessity that really should not be overlooked. I mean, it's so funny growing up Adventist and having the Sabbath as this thing that God created. God created for you, or I guess man was made for the Sabbath, right? Like, we need to rest. So growing up in that mindset, like, why was I not resting? I don't know. But now it's like, okay, this is a part of who I am as a human being. I need to rest. It's not like a luxury. It's something that everybody needs. It's just like a staple of life that you can't avoid. You shouldn't try to avoid. And I think that's a very capitalist mindset too. Like, we live in a country where if you work every single day, if you're putting in crazy hours, people are like clapping for you. Like, wow.
Yes, 80 hours a week.
Such a hard worker. Wow. And I'm like, no, I don't want to be like that.
I'm trying to think, because sometimes I'll hear people say they have 80-hour weeks. I'm like, let me divide that by 7, because it just okay, that's about 11 hours a day. Let me divide that by 6.
Yeah, and it's like, honestly, respect to the people who like are just really moved to do that and are working towards a cause. Like, there's no shade. I just know for me, in the way that I work, I need my rest. And in my balance. And so for me, that doesn't work. For me, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, it just doesn't work for me. And I know people who can go and they're fine. Like, they're so fine. And I wanted to be like that, but I'm just not like that. So
I don't know your dad as well as I know your mom, but your mom to me is a busy bee.
Yeah, for sure. She like has a nonprofit that she co-founded, I guess like 28, 29 years ago.
Okay.
Right around the time, I think, when I was like 2 or 3 or something like that. Yeah, it's 30 years. I should know, but So yeah, she's a busy bee. She likes it.
Mm-hmm.
She enjoys being busy.
Yeah.
She enjoys giving her time.
Mm-hmm.
She enjoys building things.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like definitely growing up with that example has made me like that too. And I
Yeah.
do enjoy it.
Yeah.
But she has, I think, more ability to keep going than I do.
Yeah.
We just rest differently. Like I said, I can't rest with people.
Yeah.
And she's able to rest in different ways. So I think like having that as an example, like it was a great role model for sure because it taught me resilience and it taught me like how to do well in work and how to like serve for other people. But I think their generation, just in general, wasn't really talking about rest.
Yeah.
It wasn't talking about like, hey, these are things you should do to rest, X, Y, and Z.
And that's why I brought her up because I was going to ask like, how were you able to have conversations with her about your mom? Like, I don't know how you do it, but like I'm suffering through this right now. Like, like, was she receptive? Did she like understand? Did she offer you like any type of
Oh yeah, definitely. In my childhood, we didn't talk about that like in childhood, but since I've become an adult, absolutely. I would go to her and talk to her. And she always gives me advice. She's a really great role model for me, and she's told me the ways that she rests. Like for me to give it a try. Everyone rests differently, but I'll try some of her methods and that will work for me. And then some of her methods also don't work for me and vice versa. But yeah, we're able to have that conversation openly and it's so supportive. Like what would I do without my parents? I don't know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. So I'm very blessed to have like a community and a support system. Because even though I've been running myself to the bone in certain seasons, my community has always been there to support me. Yeah, which is really big.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up community because community. So I think every episode I tell you guys like the 5 pillars of self-care, which is meditation/spiritual practice, exercise, nutrition, community, and journaling. But I think every episode we get a little bit of a reminder of just how important community is to our self-care, and just helping us to kind of like, get back to ourselves or become our better selves. So I'm glad you brought it.
Yeah, we're relational beings, I believe. And so we need community. We need close ties and close relationship. Yeah, it's very important. So I'm very grateful.
Yes. You talked about, well, we didn't talk about it, but I mentioned to you guys at the beginning that Alexis had declined to be on the podcast earlier just because of the season of Burnout. What was that like for you? Like how did you know that you reached burnout? Because I think sometimes we know where we approach it and then we don't know that we're there until
it's too late.
Yeah.
I recently went through a very difficult season of burnout. So I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory. So college was really rough for me. It was very tough. And after college, I ended up getting sick with like a chronic pain condition. And it was very, very difficult. This is like right after graduation. And I remember like I had like flare-ups and I lost a lot of weight. And I was like, oh, I'm never gonna be able to hold down a job. Like, my life has changed forever. Like all this stuff.
Oh, okay.
But I really just prayed about it, and God led me to the right doctors, to the right medical team, and then also just showed me methods of healing. And the condition I have, there's no like cure for it, like medically, but you can just manage it. But I just followed God's steps for maybe about a year to 2 years, because this happened during the pandemic.
Okay.
It was like right before the pandemic and then through 2020, 2021. I followed those methods of healing and I was healed. Like literally, like I do not struggle with that condition anymore. Yeah, like it was a miracle. I was like, I'm healed. I can eat whatever I want again, like whatever. But then this was my mistake, okay? God showed me how to manage myself and how to heal. I followed that, all right? And then once I got better and got a new job, like my big girl job, I became too busy. the pandemic ended, the world opened up. Because during the pandemic, I spent a lot of time resting. Because what else could I do? I spent a lot of time in my Bible. I spent a lot of time feeding myself nutritious food. Spent a lot of time being in the sunlight, just resting. A lot of time crying, just like releasing. But then I got my job, and I became too busy to do pretty much any of the methods of healing that the Lord had shown me. And I just got really wrapped up in work. Yeah. Really, really wrapped up in it. And that was fine for a year. And it was even fine for 2 years. Yeah. But coming on that third year, I also got really involved in my community. I was volunteering at church. I was volunteering with choir. I was volunteering with other family members, like things that they needed. And this was like a weekly thing. Yep. I got really wrapped up in working and all of those things. I stopped taking care of myself. And then my job started to get more stressful. Yeah. Like, not like outside of me. It just started to get more stressful because things were changing, like in the political climate, things were changing. I didn't have a manager that was really able to support me in the way that I needed. And the culture of the job I was in was very performance focused. And it really started to get to me. Yeah. And I started having headaches every day. This was like one of those like, yeah. First, it was like once in a while, like when I would get really stressed. And then it became every single day. At the end of the workday, I would have a headache. In fact, I still do. That's something I'm still healing from. Yeah. And I would wake up in the mornings and I would not be able to get out of bed. I was exhausted. I had literally nothing. But I had to go to work, hold out a job, thank you, Jesus. And I would sit on the edge of my bed and I would cry. And then I would get up and I would change my clothes, take my shower, and go to work. And I was like, this is not normal. I shouldn't be crying every morning just to go to my job. Yeah. Something is not right here. I shouldn't have a headache every single day. And I shouldn't feel totally empty inside. Like, I felt like yes. I felt like I had nothing. Like nothing. And that's when I was like, this is a serious problem. And also, I'm not going to be able to survive. I was praying. I was like, Lord, like, what can I do? I can't survive like this. Yes. I'm like, I would sit in front of my computer to work. Nothing.
That's also why I couldn't do the computer science. I was just in here like, I can't labor over cocoa.
You have to think really hard. Yeah.
All day. Like, I can do it for the class, but like, as my job,
I feel like it's probably better than the class, though. I feel like it is. Like, if you ever to look into it again, it's not that bad. It's really not. Like, if I can do it, it's not that bad. Okay. But yeah, but you do have to be able to think. And I was so burnt out. Yes. I would just like sit there, like stare. I started using my phone a lot more. Yes. I was using my phone like a drug.
Yes. Like it's sick.
Yeah, I would get tired. And I would turn that phone on and be like, I need some blue light to wake me up. And I would just scroll and be like, all right, I got my blue light. Like, let me keep going. Like, it was not good. Yeah. So that's what, those are some of the symptoms I was having. That was like, okay, you're burnout. Also, I was becoming more depressed. I was becoming more anxious. You know, I feel like it spirals pretty quickly.
It does. And I'm a person who, well, I have anxiety. I already take medication for my anxiety. But as somebody who's just trying to manage their mental health, like being a workaholic. So I do have 3 jobs, but I do keep myself on a schedule that I think I can maintain. And the reason why I have 3 jobs is because they're all contract part-time freelance. So I don't have like a set schedule for every single one. Yeah. Like one of them I can work from home as much as I really want to. Another one I may have like, it pays really well, but I may only have like 2 shows or 2 events a week. So, and then the shows may be like from 12 to 6 or 12 to 9. And even though there's like 6, 9, 12-hour days, whatever the case may be, there's downtime in between those. So I might bring some other work with me to like work. And then the other one, I do work at a school. So that one is like more structured, but I don't have to work there every single day. You know what I mean? Like, but so the 3 jobs is insane, but I'm like maintaining it that way.
Yeah.
I will say though, I was the most burnt out. Maybe when I was really like in school and coming out of school, because coming out of school, I was just trying to make some money.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, like I got this degree and I need a job in my field. Also kind of figuring out like how your degree translates, because you go to school for a degree, but then you get that degree, at least bachelor's, you realize like you kind of spent schools learning the fundamentals or the basics. And so it's either how do I translate my degree into my resume so I can get a job, so I can get the experience, or I have to go back to school. And I was not going back to school. So, but with the headaches, 100%. The migraines were sickening.
Yeah.
The crying spells were like ridiculous. I was telling my therapist, I was like, yeah, you know, like I was like, I cry every single day. And she and I thought at that point I thought it was normal.
Yeah,
I was like, maybe
it's just being an adult.
I was like, maybe I just need to this is how I need to release. And she was like, that's not normal at all. So what I'm hearing is that like your body is so overwhelmed.
Yeah, your body tells you.
You know, your body is so overwhelmed that this is why this is happening. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I just really like, I'm not gonna lie, like I think I kind of use social media to figure it out and to kind of like practice the self-care, because my parents, like, you know, like my mom would tell me, my dad, he wouldn't say anything because my dad's just a workaholic. And my mom's a workaholic too in her own way. My dad's a workaholic in terms of like jobs. My mom's a workaholic in terms of like job, and then feeling like she has to come home and take care of certain things. And I see her birth. I'm like, Mom, why didn't you just tell me this is what you want to make for dinner? I've been home all day.
Yeah.
I would have made this for dinner. And it's not even like I don't have my own initiative. Yeah. It was like I've done something before where I've cooked something. She said, no, you're supposed to use this. This was in the fridge for this. I'm like, okay, just tell me what's here and I will do it. If you tell me that, I will do it. But, you know, like that. And I also think me being a workaholic has caused relationships to suffer in the past. Unfortunately, I will say like, what is it? Fuck bitches get money. Fuck niggas get money. Like that's how I was. Like it was.
Oh, that's how you were.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
And I was like, you know, like the man's always gonna be there. I was like, with this money, I need to get this. And for me, that's what work is. Work was like money focused.
Okay.
Like it wasn't really, I think,
yeah, I get that.
You know, like I think I'm in a season now where I'm like, okay, God, like show me my purpose. Because I'm tired of just working for the money. And I was like, I like what I do at each job, but show me something that's like, this is what I'm meant to do so I can be more fulfilled. Like I'm not calling out. I'm not dreading going to work. I'm not missing deadlines, you know, stuff like that. So yeah. But in this age of like, in this new age of rest that you're starting to learn, how do you define productivity for you?
So productivity, honestly, for me, productivity is very simple. It's just me setting out my to-dos for the day, the things I need to maintain or learn or whatever, and then just accomplishing that list. Like I've really tried to simplify how I feel about productivity, because I know it's like a really big buzzword for us now. Like, you got to be productive, like how to have your most productive morning routine, like all these things. And for me, it's very simple. Like I just want to accomplish what I have set out in the day to do.
Yeah.
And if I accomplish that, it was a productive day. And what I've set out to do might look different every day, depending on what day of the week it is or just what's happening. But yeah, so I try not to get too caught up in like, I feel like social media, people are always like, you need to build your legacy. You need to build your empire. You need to have XYZ. But that was not working for me.
Yeah.
That was not giving me any fulfillment. It was fun.
Yeah.
I like having a job. I like having money. I don't want to lose it by any means, but I think at this season in my life, I am trying to focus less on productivity and more on preparation because I felt like I was preparing myself for a life of stress, for a life of stress and sickness. And what I'm trying to prepare myself is a life of peace. Oh, there's a road that leads to peace and there's a road that leads to destruction. And even though I wasn't doing like quote unquote evil things, I was leading myself to destruction, to a sad life. So now I'm trying to focus more on preparation. Like, how can I prepare myself for a life of peace each day? Like, what does that look like for me?
I feel that. Because I was the same way with like the to-do list. So 2 things. One, I used to have a to-do list for every day, all in one note sheet, and it'd be like 7 items in one day.
Yeah.
And one person revealed to me that like 7 items, like if you really think about all the time you have in your day and what you have to dedicate yourself, should have like 3 to 4 things that you need to done that day, and really 3 that you must get done, and then that 4th one could be something like
that maybe you don't have to. Yeah,
you know what I mean. So that helped me. That was one thing that helped me. Like, I'm like, okay, like obviously I'm packing too much into the day. And then now I have like physical calendars, like one that I write in the book, but like on my notes, I really just have this week. And I have things that need to get done this week. And then I just go in and I kind of pick like what I can do for the day versus having like, because I was thinking that like structure was going to help me. But it actually just made me more like
more rigid,
less fluid, more overwhelmed. But like if something was off by like a minute, I'm like, no. I'm like, I actually only have about 30 more seconds to this conversation because I gotta go get this.
Yeah, totally.
Do all this before I go to my second job, and you know what I mean? Like now for me, productivity is like, did I eat today? Did I get my steps in? Did I move my body? The work is gonna get done because that's just who I am.
Yeah.
But like productivity to me is like, how did I take care of myself today?
Okay.
Did I hit all of my, did I make it to bed by 10:30? You know what I mean? Because it's like sometimes you get finished from your work day and you come home and you do more work. I have to tell myself, no.
Yeah.
When you clock out of this job, you're clocked out.
Yes.
You're clocked out for the day. You know what I mean? Like you can add this task onto a day that you're working from home. You can add this task on to a Saturday evening. You're probably not going to go outside anyways. You can add it to a Sunday morning. But this task will not be added to a 9 p.m. evening. When you got home at 7, you ate, you showered, then you're about to do some more work and then try and shut your brain off by 10:30.
I know.
What?
Yeah. Come on. It's like, it's not going to happen. Like, I tell myself that story every day. Like, I can do all these things and still have the peaceful, relaxed life I want, but not if I'm working against myself in the way that my body works. Yeah. I actually, like, through that season of burnout, I actually pushed myself into a pretty uncomfortable hormonal imbalance. And when I went to the doctor, like, for the headaches, for all this stuff, and I did a hormonal panel, which I recommend everyone get because
okay, thank you. I need to.
It exposed a lot of things for me. Yes, when you get your blood test done, like, yes, make sure you're checking all your vitamins. Ask for a thyroid panel.
I do take medication for my thyroid.
Oh, okay, yeah, because that definitely affects energy. Ask for, to get your iron checked and all the specific things that go into that, and then also a hormonal panel. That exposed some things for me because my hormones were really off kilter, and the doctor was telling me how, like, there are some really important hormones because your body is all hormonal, right? Like, hormones are setting off signals all the time. There's some really important hormones that once those start to get off, other things get off too.
Okay.
And for me, a big one was cortisol. They checked my cortisol like kind of midday, and it was so low. It was so low. Like, you need cortisol because that's what gets you up in the morning. That's like, it's balance, right? Like, people talk about like your cortisol's too high. Like, I'm sure that's a thing. But for me, the doctors explained to me, like, no, you need cortisol. You need to be at a balanced level because it gets you up in the morning. And I was having trouble getting up.
Yeah.
But my cortisol was so low because I had just been burning that I had nothing. I was going on off of sheer willpower. Like, my body was like,
that's what it is.
and I was just like, no, we're doing this.
Getting severed.
Yeah, it's getting severed. So it was like, yeah, like now my physical health is at risk.
Yeah.
Because I didn't stop. And it's not even like an issue of like, oh, I didn't stop. Like, I don't blame myself. Like, the society we're in, you know, we're all just doing our best. Like, and you do have to work. That's the thing. We really don't have the time to just like sit, you know, and just like all day long.
Yeah.
A lot of us have to work every single day.
Yeah.
And so now at this point in my life, my questions are, how can I find the balance? How can I find the balance between working, which is not a bad thing, and I like my job, and volunteering, which I also enjoy, and spending time with friends, family, and making time for myself. Like, where can I find the balance in all of these things and still maintain health physically, mentally, and spiritually?
I'm glad you brought the hormonal test because right now, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, all Black women, I really, really, really urge you to aggressively advocate for yourself in the medical space and in getting your lab checked. If one doctor won't do it, go to another one. Because we especially, not only just like our genetics of just being Black women, but even just like the amount of stress that we go through every day being like top of the oppressed groups in the world. Like, I was in college, and another stressor for me was that I gained so much weight. Like, I want to say how much I gained, like a good 25 pounds in college. So I guess not so much weight, but 25 pounds does make a difference. And my sophomore year, I had been on a strict diet, and I had been working out 5 days a week.
Wow.
No, like consistently for maybe about 5 months. No change in weight. No change in energy, no change in mood, no change in anything.
Yeah.
And it was really discouraging me because I come from a family who is really like just weight centered and focused, like since I was little. So I'm just saying like, yo, like I can't even, I was like, I'm doing everything right. Next time I see, you know, my grandmother, she wants me to be smaller. And I was like, I'm not going to be small. Like, it was just so much stress. And I went to the doctor and I got my thyroid levels checked, and literally like there's hyperthyroidism where like their thyroid is like working crazy and like people can't hold on to weight, like their metabolism fast. And then there's like hypothyroidism where like my thyroid wasn't working at all. Like, it wasn't doing nothing. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And so I got on that. And I did start seeing some changes, maybe not necessarily in my weight, but definitely like in my mood. And then also when I got my anxiety medication, I started seeing changes too. So, you know, like just, like I said, if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, like just aggressively advocate for your needs, your blood work, and your hormone testing when you go to the doctors, because like it can make a world of difference. And sometimes people think that you should be out here fighting stuff like on your own, or, you know, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So like definitely get that checked out. So
yeah, because I had gone to doctors for exhaustion, and like I'm always thirsty. Like that was something for me. It was like I would be drinking water and nothing was helping. I was so thirsty. And people would be like, oh, are you sure you're drinking enough water? I'm like, I think so. They're like,
hell yeah, I drink a lot.
Yeah, I was going for tiredness, but no one had suggested checking my hormones before checking my thyroid. And so I'm glad that I got that done because it made a big difference.
Yeah.
And I think too, like, especially in seasons of burnout, like getting help is really important. Don't try to handle it on your own. Like, really seek some help and get some help. Because even if like in the future, maybe, you know, it takes a little time to recover and you might get to a point where you're no longer having to go to the doctor like regularly or whatever. But up front,
Yeah.
get your help, get that medication if you need that medication.
Yeah.
And let it,
Mm-hmm.
be like a lifesaver for you.
Yeah.
You're working towards maybe more balance
Mm-hmm.
in your schedule. But yeah, no, it was very helpful. I got on some good supplements. I was very vitamin B deficient.
Oh, okay.
I was extremely vitamin B deficient, which is like a really important vitamin, and also vitamin D.
Yeah.
Which is both of those are extremely important and foundational for your body.
Mm-hmm.
I was totally deficient in those. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that like I had way more energy once I started taking those supplements. Like
Yeah.
it was something almost as simple as that to give me a little bit of a boost, like,
Yeah.
okay, it's
Like
things can get better.
yes. Yes.
Things can be better.
Oh my goodness. Definitely glad you mentioned that because I have a doctor's appointment in 2 weeks and I know I have to get my blood work before I go, but I just want to make sure that because when you get blood work, it's always like something specific. So you could give your blood, but they're not always going to test it for.
Yeah, for XYZ.
You know,
it would just be for X.
So I'm glad I wrote that down because I need to remind them to have my doctor request like, no, I need all this tested so that when I come to the appointment and I got my little medical binder, so I take my note. I don't have the time. Like, when you're advocating for your health, you have to tell your story over and over and over again.
Right. So you might as well have a binder. That's so smart. No, I mean, yeah, that's the beauty of modern medicine. So now we can get all these very specific things checked out.
Exactly.
Get some help for it. So
exactly. Okay. So we're wrapping up here, but I want to talk to you just about your transition from communications to software engineering, and then also how the rest kind of like plays a role in your creativity in those spaces.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. 2 big things. Which one do you want to?
I want to start with what you studied in college. Let's start there.
Okay. So in college, I studied intercultural communications with the minor in Spanish.
Okay. Do you speak Spanish?
Not anymore. I did abroad in Spain.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to play myself like that. Like, no, actually, I'm not even going to play myself like that. No, I don't speak Spanish anymore. Okay. I can understand a lot of it. But I don't practice.
Yeah.
And you have to practice.
You do to keep the language.
You have to practice. But I did, this was maybe 10 years ago. I studied in Spain for a year and it was so much fun. Like one of the best years of my life. Learned Spanish, like enough to become fluent, but it wasn't like, I wasn't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I wasn't applying for any translator jobs, but I was feeling comfortable going out and about, talking to locals and stuff. I want to practice again, though. It comes back quickly if I start to practice.
Yeah. I'm thinking about not studying abroad, but teaching abroad in Spain.
It was amazing. It was really amazing. Like, that's kind of all I can say.
Yeah.
It's a very, you get outside of the United States and go to certain places that prioritize rest a bit more and community a bit more. And it's a really different experience. And it's really nice, I think, especially coming from a culture where we really prioritize work and money.
Yeah.
Like, those are number ones. Going to countries where those aren't the most important thing, it's a nice change of pace. So, I'm
gonna consider it.
I'm thinking about it, but just for like see how other people live. But so I studied intercultural communications. When I wanted to work with the State Department, but when I graduated college, the political environment was not ideal.
What year did you graduate, if you don't mind me asking?
In 2019.
Oh, yeah.
I graduated in 2019. And yeah, at least at the State Department, for me, I said, okay, I don't really think this is the best route for me right now. Also, like I said, I was really sick when I graduated college.
Yeah, you just said that.
So it was a combination of the two. It was like, I don't really know if I want to get into that. And then also, physically, I'm unwell. When I graduated, I was working in hospitality, which I really loved. But I could very clearly hear the Lord saying, you need to go home. And this is before I even knew I was sick.
Well, where were you? Like,
I was in Napa Valley, California.
Oh, okay. And you were hospitality, like serving?
I worked at a front desk of like this Forbes 5-star hotel. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
But I loved it.
I one of my favorite jobs was actually like Starbucks. And it's like sometimes if you don't, again, with this culture of like your worth being tied to like your work, and then also like I knew I had a degree, so it's like, okay, like I really should obviously use my investment. But if making drinks, making coffee all the day paid the bills,
yeah, you're having fun. And like I love my team. I love such good camaraderie, like in service jobs. Yeah,
yeah.
I think everyone should do a service job. It gives you a lot of humility first and foremost, but also it can be really fun and teach you a lot. But yeah, so then I went home.
Okay.
Got sick, went on a healing journey, which was a big part of my life. And then I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do now? It's when I was in school, I had the thought like, okay, I don't really want to work with people anymore. Maybe I should work with computers, like just kind of in passing. And I said to my grandma, I think I'm going to learn how to code. But that was like my junior year. So now this is like 2 or 3 years later. And I was like, oh, I still want to learn how to code.
Yeah.
Everything had shut down because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So I just started to apply to coding camps. And then I found this coding apprenticeship where it was like a 6 to 8 month course, 9 to 5 every day, where they taught me how to code, like from the ground up, like starting with the front end and the back end, and then how to work in an engineering environment. So that was like invaluable. And then they start to contract you out to other companies. And that's how I landed with the company I was with now, because I worked with them for 1 year as a contractor, like as an apprentice, like junior engineer, and we just had a really good relationship and wanted to keep it going. So then I got hired full time there.
Yes.
And I've just been working there, building my skills and just
I love that.
Learning. Yeah. So it's been fun. It's been really fun.
So you said the course was like 6 to 8 months, but I want to know, like, did you experience any type of like burnout during when you were taking that? Because I know, and some of my audience, we know what software engineering like is, especially when you're in the thick of it and studying it, and it can be easy to burn out.
It was okay. So the program itself was very tough, and I definitely had moments of like. Okay, the whole time I was in the program, because you can be let go at any time if you're not keeping up with the program. The whole time in the program, I'm like, I'm going to get let go. I'm going to get let go. So I guess I was like stressed the entire way through. Like, this is it. Like, you're trying to figure out a problem and it's just not. Like, the tests aren't passing and you're like, okay, this is going to be it. They're about to kick me out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, because this was during the pandemic and because I was on my physical, spiritual, mental healing journey from college.
Yeah.
I never felt truly defeated.
Yeah.
I was like afraid that I would be.
Yeah.
But I never got truly burnt out because at that time in my life, I was really relying on God. Like actually, and I think since I've gotten the job, I transitioned a bit into relying on myself a bit more, which is not good for me. But at the time, I was really relying on God, and I would just pray, God, like, you don't have to move this mountain.
Yeah.
Because it's the mountain I asked for.
Yeah.
But please give me the strength to climb it.
Yeah.
And that was my prayer every single night. And I would tell my friends, like, don't let me quit. Like, do not let me quit this program. Because I think I can do it. It's just really hard.
That's good. That's good that you had that, like, what is not even foresight? Well, foresight for sure, but just good that you had that, like, humility and awareness to, like, ask God to help you in that way. Because I think a lot of times we ask for, we ask for to have, to have this big plate of blessings.
Yeah.
And then we complain when we have a lot on our plate.
Yeah.
And it's like, no. Just ask God to help you break it up into the portions. Like, don't ask him to take it away because this is what you asked for. And this is what you want.
Right.
It's just tough right now.
Yeah. And you don't have to climb, like, you do not have to climb that mountain all in one day. Like, I was really in the practice of asking God for my daily bread. Like, every day, it was like, please just help me get through today. And I stopped worrying about the program as a whole.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, like, help me get through the whole program. Help me get through these next steps. Help me get the job. And it was like, please just give me the strength I need to climb today. And then that fills up. And then you look back and you're like, wow, I'm graduating the program. I got my certificate. Like, I have a new job. Like, it happens. It happens quickly.
Yeah. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Do you feel like in both of these spaces, like rest played a part in the creativity or the your ability to like think?
Oh, for sure.
You know?
For sure. And like rest, for me, rest is not always sleeping. Now, sleeping is huge.
It is.
Sleeping is huge. Sleeping is way more foundational and important than I would like it to be because I'm not a big sleeper.
Yeah.
I will take naps for sure because these days I'm just exhausted, but I don't go to bed at a good hour, at a scientifically good hour.
I've been striving for, I'm sorry to cut you off, but
oh, you're good.
January, February, March, I have like, so on my closet doors, I have the months broken down on note cards.
Yeah.
And then I have sticky notes of things that I want to accomplish in each of these months.
Uh-huh.
I have one sticky notes because there'll be some months where I'm like, yeah, we're going to put that down. That is not.
I actually like that.
Yeah. I'm not going to work for February. We're going to move that right down to May.
Yeah.
Maybe we can accomplish that in May. But the sleep by 10:30 p.m. has moved from January to February to March.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping it'll stick in April.
It's so hard.
Because I see it every night. I have two of them, two of the reminders in my room. I see it every night. And this is me looking at it at 12:30.
Like, okay, I'll try again tomorrow. Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yes. I go to bed late every single night, even though part of me doesn't want to, but like, that's my habit. Like, that's a lot to get into right now, but you get it. You get it. So rest for me has just looked different.
Mm-hmm.
And the creativity, the mental space to be able to think clearly absolutely comes from being rested, refreshed, and supported, like physically supported. So for me, a big part of that was nutrition. You have to have nutrition. You have to have all your vitamins and minerals and be eating healthy. Like for me, like I'm very sensitive, like physically, emotionally, spiritually, I'm very sensitive.
Yeah.
I could eat something and in 20 minutes, like start to feel those effects like very clearly.
Yeah.
So I have to be really careful about what I eat. And for me, like processed food, it just zaps me.
It does.
It just takes me out, you know? And so like it's the difference between when I wake up in the morning, am I gonna eat like a Pop-Tart, which I know is just gonna hurt my stomach and make me feel kind of down, or am I gonna eat like an apple?
Yeah.
And just that small choice right there affected how well I could think.
Yeah.
For that next hour of my life, you know?
It does. It does. For me, it's more so I'm really big on breakfast because you have to start your day with it. But I used to be a person who would skip breakfast or just eat anything for breakfast. But I will say like within like the last year, like I have like kind of like a breakfast menu. Like these are the three options I have for the week, and I can just rotate them out. But my biggest thing with the whole not resting, overworking, all that kind of stuff is I'm just eating my breakfast in the car, like while I'm driving.
Yeah.
And a big reason why I'm trying to get to bed 10:30 p.m. so I can really get my REM sleep, my REM cycle, so that I can wake up in the morning and like take my time and eat before I get in the car. Versus like, all right, I woke up. If I hustle, I can get the clothes on, do a quick little beat, and then I could just snatch something up the fridge, and then I could just eat on the go.
Yeah.
And it's like your body's got to wake up.
Yeah.
You need what is it? Like put something warm in your stomach first. Like also like I observed Ramadan this year. And one of my coworkers who's Muslim, what he said, it was really hard for me. I've never done it before. I probably should have talked to more people about the best ways to do it before I did. But one thing he said was that, you know, when he breaks his fast, he starts with like maybe like a warm soup or a warm tea, something to like ease your stomach.
Yeah, like and just slowly wake it up.
Yeah. And then maybe an hour after that, he'll like actually break it with a big meal. And I think that's like me trying to eat breakfast in the car. That's another thing. Like I wouldn't have put nothing in my stomach since last night. And then I'm eating in the car, not in the posture you're supposed to be when you eat. Then I might be eating something cold, or I might be eating something. And then I have Like, so.
Yeah, I get it. And it's like there are ideal ways to live
Mhm.
that just aren't always practical. There are days where you have to eat breakfast in the car, and there are days where you don't go to bed on time. Like all these things, all these healing methods to stay rested and restored, they are ideal, not always practical. And I think the biggest thing for me has actually been like reading the Bible and trusting in God, like to help heal me from like overworking myself. Because trusting in God is like, you're like, what do I really have to do right now? Like right now, what do I really have to do? And just the calmness that can come over you can just kind of help you do the other things you want to do to take care of yourself. Because for me, when I'm too stressed, I can't eat healthy when I'm super stressed. No, I can't eat healthy. Like, get that apple out of my face.
That's like time for that.
No, like I'm gonna go get my favorite cupcake from Sweet Cakes. Like I'm going to lay down, I'm going to scroll. Like it's very hard to do when you're super overwhelmed. So just having those like biblical thoughts flowing through your head just to help the overwhelm.
Yeah.
It really helps.
Have you seen those TikToks where like they're like me going on a walk to clear my mind and what the walk sounds like? Oh my goodness. I'm gonna show you after this. It's so funny because it's like I've done it before where it's basically showing like, somebody's going on a walk for their mental health and to clear their mind, but then like the walk is just them cursing the person out that they wish they cursed out. Like,
yeah, for sure.
It is so funny and relatable.
It's so relatable.
I'm like, exactly. I'm like, that's why I need music or something.
Yeah.
Because like if I don't have like something to just kind of
you're
like,
still thinking about all the thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, music, like, okay, music has been super important to me lately because now I'm in the season of trying to even figure out how can I get my sunlight every day? How can I get my exercise, my water, my nutrition, how can I do that? And there have been times where I literally feel busyness, because I think busyness is a good word for what I struggle with. Like I just want to be busy. I want to be busy. I have had times where I have physically felt busyness come over me. And I can't stop what I'm doing. Like, I'm not even joking with you. I have had nights where it's Friday night, the Sabbath is coming. It's time to stop. Okay? But physically, I can't stop. Yeah. Because, like, okay, so I'm a new homeowner. It's been about 2 years.
Oh, congratulations.
Thanks. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It is a blessing, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
And once work is finished, I have the dog, like I have to clean, like I will start cleaning and I physically cannot stop. I'm exhausted. I'm sick. Like I'm physically sick.
Yes.
And I feel that busyness come over me and I can't stop. I will be busy to the point of tears. And I'm like, that's not healthy. What is it? I don't know. So one night I was super busy. It's so silly thinking back, but I was cleaning. I couldn't stop cleaning. And the kind of person I am, and this is something I'm working on because it actually really helps my nervous system when I don't, I do everything as fast as I can. Everything I do as fast as I can.
I did not say that, but okay.
If I'm cleaning, I'm cleaning as quickly as I can.
Okay.
When I go to work, I'm working as quick as I can. Like, and I didn't realize that was a problem until like a few months ago, where I was like, why am I moving as quickly as my body can move? And it got to the point one night where I was cleaning so fast, like after working really quickly all day long. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm so tired, but I'm still scrubbing.
Yeah.
And I started to think about the story of Martha and Mary, where Martha was cleaning, busy during the party, and Mary was just sitting, chilling with Jesus. Because I relate to Martha in that story.
Yeah.
Like,
girl,
I always relate to Martha in that story. But I was like, God, like, I can't stop. Like, I physically can't stop this. And then I turned on some hymns, which is just really instrumental hymns, just really slow music. And literally, it like complete, like, it, I could stop.
It does that. Yeah.
I could stop.
Music is so powerful.
I was like, I'm like crying, shaking from being so busy. Like, this is how far my busyness can go and how much I'm like really working through. and it just like made me stop and calm down. So yeah, pro tip: use hymns.
Okay, I'm glad
hymns to heal.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because my last and final question was just going to be like, what advice could you give somebody who is looking for a work-life balance and who's also trying not to see their rest as like laziness?
Oh yeah, I know there is a temptation to see it as laziness because of, I think, our culture. But I mean, it is a necessity though. The advice I would give. So what I do, and I'm not perfect by any means,
right?
But I think that I've become pretty successful in terms of like, I'm happy where I am. I have a good job. I can take care of my home. I can take care of my family. I can be in community. Like, these are all the things I attribute to God and what he has showed me on how to do this. So this is where the advice is coming from.
Right.
Just making that clear. Not because I think not because I think I have it all under control, but because I have a lot that I wanted given to me by the Lord and managed by these tips.
Right.
So it's actually like gonna sound like the most Adventist thing ever. Okay, but it doesn't have to be Adventist. But it's actually the health message. Okay.
Okay.
Let me break it down really quick.
Yes.
Nutrition, exercise, water, sunlight, temperance, which is like not doing too much, right? Like temperance is like balance, like not overeating. Would be a form of temperance. Not overworking would be a form of temperance.
Okay, I got you.
But also not doing too little. Like, it's just like doing a good balance. Good balance. Temperance, air, because you got to breathe. Rest and trust in God. Those are actually the keys. And if you can build those in to every day, I can almost guarantee that you will start to feel a little better day by day. And temperance is a really big one when you're an overworker.
It is.
Because it means you have to create boundaries for the work.
It does.
But building in at least a little nutrition, a little bit of a walk each day, drinking your water, which you can do while you work, sleeping, going outside to take a few deep breaths, being by yourself if you need to. Like, these are little things, but they really build up over time.
You're right.
They're simple. They're so simple.
You're right.
But they really build up over time. It's been helping me heal from burnout. And then also, this is one for our day and age, getting off of social media.
And the phone in general. I should have put my phone down. I was mad. I didn't print my questions because I really don't even like to be.
Yeah, you're good. No,
you know.
Yeah, I hate to say it. I really hate to say it because I love social media. I hate to say it. We got to get off of it. At least use some temperance when you use it and don't overuse it.
You know, app limits.
But yeah, app limits. Do what you need to do to make sure that you are not becoming addicted to your phone, because it's really easy to become addicted.
Yeah.
And especially right now with just every time I get on Instagram, all I see is people fighting over things. It's just people in the comments fighting with each other. And that gets to you. Yeah. That really gets to you.
Do you know how many times I go in the comments and I see something so stupid and I'm like, taking something, and then I literally delete it all. I'm like, yeah, don't know what that was about. Let me just mind my business, because when I scroll past this, I'm not even gonna remember I saw that. So let me just.
It really gets to you. Like the what social media is doing to our brain, what scrolling is doing to our brain. There's a lot more studies coming out showing that it's not good for your brain. Like, it is not good for your brain. So honestly, that could be the first step. Like, delete your apps for a few days. Take 3 days. Just delete all your apps for 3 days and see how you feel after those 3 days. And if you feel even 10% better, then keep them deleted for another, keep them deleted for another few days. Because I'm telling you, I deleted my apps like about a week ago. And already I can think so much better. And it's only been like a week. Yeah. And it hasn't even been 100% deletion. Like, I go on to check my messages. Yeah. But even just pulling back, like, it's just, it gives your brain more space to actually think and process and take care of you.
And focus. Like, focusing just on what you need to focus on. Not even like focusing on work, but just being able to focus. Like,
yeah, just period. Yeah. Just be able to focus on anything.
Yeah.
Social media. I mean, also it can be very toxic too, and make you think like every day is supposed to be amazing, post-worthy day. Like that's not even accurate to real life.
Like,
or make you unhappy with where you are because you see something better.
Yes.
So there's so many reasons to take a break from it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're struggling with burnout.
Mm-hmm.
100% like it's not gonna help you let you know. Like if you have a community, get their phone numbers. Like if your community's on Instagram, try to get their phone numbers. Try to talk to them on the phone or something. Because the scrolling
and this then like no. I 1000% agree. But with that being said, I really want to thank you for coming on to your podcast. Like this was such a good conversation. I really, really hope everybody out there that you learned something today, and you found like a new tool or practice that you can use in your own self-care journey. I want to remind you guys that this is the Check-In Podcast. My name is Camryn Billette. This is our guest, Alexis Booker. If you like this episode, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. You can find us on Instagram at the Check-In Pod 1. You can find us on YouTube at the Check-In Podcast, as well as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere you get your podcast from. I want to remind you guys to lead with light and lead with love, as always. And especially in this season of just self-care and learning how to be better stewards of yourself, lead with lots of grace for yourselves. All right, y'all. Take care.